perform here.
Well, in match 3, as we're about to get underway, we will see who continues to rise to the top and who finds themselves sitting at the bottom, looking up and wondering, how did I get here? Match 3 on Storm Point, our last match of this newest map to Apex Legends competitive. Although it's not too new anymore, has begun. And then we will transition into World's Edge, Rain Day and Fallout on the cast here. And Fallout, I mean, let's talk about maybe some of the bigger things. As you can see, it might be a 50-50 to slam into, but if not, you know, Sentinels and Optic, I'm really impressed with their performance, having to get the job done. It seems like they've answered the call, so to speak.
Yeah, they certainly have. Sentinels with a monster game number 1. Optic with a huge game number 2. Both of those teams find themselves within the top 3. And personally, you know, if I look at the funniest pro players on Twitter, I have Noct in my top 3 in my funny bracket. I'm going to create a funny bracket with pros. Noct tweeted out, someone send me an anime profile picture. I need whatever it takes to have a demon mode type of game tomorrow in the pro league. And of course, Nightswig responded within seconds.
You know, when I was on the way to Sweden heading into the playoffs, I actually sat in front of Skittle Cakes, and you know, sociable guy, and you know, we found out we were going to the same place, and then we both kind of realized, hey, I know you. Hey, I know you.
Hey, so what brings you on this flight flying to
what
Sweden?
brings you out? Yeah, why are you going to Sweden in the middle of, you know, whatever? And you know, it was definitely one of those things that kind of set a tone for me. But when I saw them in the building, what was interesting is that they probably have a really good rapport with each other, but it was really all business. That's kind of the way I think of Optic Gaming. I just think of some very serious people until you get underneath that first layer of personality when they're at work. And I think then they probably have a really nice, maybe even hilarious demeanor and banter with them. You know, maybe we get a chance to do some listen-ins with Optic. Obviously, they're doing well, and they're big stars in the scene. But ever since they've bounced in, they've had that kind of duality of them, of being, you know, kind of lovable creatures in the way that Duplex is. And I remember that Gibraltar photo that you retweeted. And also, you know, they're here to get the job done. They don't want friends. They'll be friends with you after the tournament is over and they're hoisting the trophy. And they made that very clear.
Yeah, and I gotta completely agree with that. You know, Optic, obviously a really interesting story, and people don't really know. I had a chance to sit down, have just a deep conversation with Skittle and with Dupe and with Noct at the LGS Champs. These are two players that were on controller playing on Xbox and grinded their way, very similar to a lot of stories, and very similar to a lot of people watching right now. I mean, many of you watching the LGS right now are probably in the same boat. They were Xbox players, grinded and ranked, were able to hit top 10 Predator on Xbox, and then were able to rotate, switch over to PC, much like many other players have. But the different thing about them is they also switched inputs. They switched to keyboard and mouse. So they had just been playing keyboard and mouse, at least in particular Duplex and Skittle, for like a year and a half. And the fact that they were able to do that and within like 3 months rise to the top as part of that esports arena squad is so damn impressive. So a really, really great story overall for Optic. And you're right, though, all business is certainly how I define them.
Luminosity Gaming, maybe a little bit more quiet. Obviously, they don't come from North America, not English speaking first, and that's totally fine. Excuse me, they do come from North America. They just end up coming from Mexico mostly as a squad, and of course, not their first language, and so maybe not interacting in the same way either on stream or at these lands as some of these other players. But when you get to talking with them, and I had a chance to speak with them as well, completely unbelievably sweet guys and committed to the cause of representing not only Mexico but representing the idea that people have doubted them and they do not want to be doubted anymore. It's a little bit of the story we talked about with Ascend. So they've proven that they can get wins, but can they get them now on the biggest of stages? Can they perform at LAN, which Kashera famously said in one of this just the most beautiful interviews I think we've had a chance to do on the ALGS earlier today. Don't call me the best until I win at LAN. And LG, I think, have had moments that they could have. If that game hadn't ended so fast with Dark Zero in Sweden, actually, I feel like they were in a position of those final 3 teams to maybe do something. And I just remember talking to them saying we ran out of ammo. We actually couldn't pressure Dark Zero. We couldn't grief them. We just had no ammo up top on that waterfall. So, you know, will that continue for them over this next couple of days? And, of course, the LAN coming up? Or, you know, will they continue to be a team that almost performed, but not quite at the biggest of stages?
Yeah, well, certainly did a good job of setting the stage, jumping into gameplay here a little bit. Surprise, surprise. We just saw Team Liquid, the North northwesternmost team coming from Cascade Falls. Early rotate is the name of their game with Loba. Get positioning, use Loba to get good loot. You don't have to take a lot of time rotating because you have that Loba ultimate you can hit along the way. And that's recipes work really, really well for them. And what's kind of cool is Hodzic is the one that really, created that strategy, that game plan for them. I've never seen a coach that's more involved like Hodzic is. So kudos to him, in my eyes, best coach that we have in Apex. And now we have some pretty remarkable coaches, Raven on TSM and Nightwing's Raven and Chaotic and others. It's really been Chrono and others. It's been fun to see these coaches continue to thrive.
Team Liquid here on the low ground. Set up. You can see FaZe looking down. Alberlelli sniped down. Sorby just a team that definitely has a lot of potential. They performed really nicely in day 2. They were actually second place behind the guard, 56 points, and it was just Liquid 2 points behind them. So these teams know how to go toe-to-toe. And in fact, they might just be setting up for that final circle here and trying to show presence and stand your ground. As you can see, it will be a northwestern circle, and it's a little bit outside of Down Beast. It may not actually end up over there, John, and that's kind of one of those famous circles where you can take height on that historic creature there who had some type of misgiving. We don't know if Newcastle was involved in that or not. It was introduced in his trailer as a legend, but still going to hold it for the time being. One of the strongest spots here in this northwestern area.
Yeah, that's right. If we could take a look at the overhead map again, and similarly last game, kind of break down what we're seeing and why we're seeing it. It's a northwestern pull. You'll see the zones. Checkpoint is smack dab in the middle. But despite Checkpoint being smack dab in the middle, well, you have most teams, in fact, maybe 8 or 9 or 10 teams rotating in the far northwest. You see Space Station in zone here early, just looting. But if we can get the large overhead map, it'd be awesome to showcase exactly what I'm talking about, where the zone's pulling and why you see teams playing the way you're playing. We'll see if we'll get that overhead map up here in a second, but jumping on board with Luminosity here in the zone, they find themselves also in a tough rotate alongside Space Station. A few others. Here we go. So take a look. Checkpoint smack dab in the middle, but despite that, all the teams, maybe 10 or so, are in the northwest side of Checkpoint and rotating early. That means they're obviously predicting the zone to continue to pull northwest and trying to get as much positioning as possible. So expect this to be a northeast finish of Down Beast, as you'll have all of these teams vying for positioning right now, and that's why Team Liquid rotated so early.
When you see it too, great explanation, John. The teams that are hardcore committing to this late rotation and Space Station, Luminosity, you see G2, you see Sentinels, Luminosity Gaming and Space Station and Sentinels, teams that have performed pretty well so far today. So maybe continuing what has worked for them, obviously going into the replicator, trying to get shield batteries, get on their resources for making sure that they're ready for this in-game circle. But the other option and the other reason why this can happen is because you're just too late. You know, your rotation plan, whatever it is, you're looting, it just doesn't go to plan. The circle's a little too far. And somebody makes a call. The IGL goes, you know, guys, I don't think we're going to be able to get there. There's spots that we want definitely already taken up right now. So let's just hard commit to showing up a little bit later and play these buildings as we get in. And that can work. And so SSG, Luminosity, G2, Sentinel's going to have to go with a plan like that and try to get in a circle a little bit late, squeeze themselves in there against some teams who are already holding ground.
And I can't overstate the importance of the replicator being added as a feature in Apex. That was amazing. Talk about quality of life improvement. That allows these teams to have this play style that really has laid birth to the edge fighting that we saw, you know, starting in I think season 3 or 4, whenever it was added. Before then, it was every team rotate as fast as you possibly can. TSM was the first team to figure that out with Pathfinder, with Watson, and with Wraith. And that's why they won 5 straight tournaments. But it was one play style, and it was rotate fast. But now with the replicator, you can obviously take storm damage, get craft med kits, craft batteries, and that's what you're seeing Luminosity do. You're seeing Space Station do the same thing over in Antenna. Luminosity still in Barometer doing the same. Optic stayed over in the mill for the first like 5 minutes of the game, playing hard edge as well. So you have these teams that have a chance to play hard edge. And you have multiple play styles, which has been healthy for the overall longevity and quality of life of Apex as an esport.
Bots having a little tit for tat with Slept on the backside of the circle now. They have the chance to kind of go back around. Both take kind of a southern and a northern wrap, which would work for them, but it doesn't seem like that way. Boat checking in with the G7, outfitted with the Bruiser, which at least earlier today was in the replicator, and so might have made that one up just to be ready. It's a nice 26 and checks for the purple shields. Maybe doesn't want to push that too hard just now. Slept on and Bots are 19th and 20th place teams so far in North America after 2 games. And, we haven't seen a lot from them, John, but I mean, this is a great time to start.
That's right. Yeah, Slept on in 30th place coming into today's competition. Dead last. Will face relegation unless they can change that story. Rack Attack in 29th. So again, we mentioned teams like Optic they have to press the panic button because they're used to being a top 5 team. Well, Oxygen in 24th. You have Rack Attack slept on first attempt. Also teams that need to perform today. We'll see if they can do that. Meanwhile, G2 is finding themselves rotating actually through Mill. They're following the rotate of Optic. I'd be actually curious to jump into a listen-in with G2 if we can to see how they're going to play the rotate and where they decide to go for positioning. G2, another team that likes to play hard edge. Bangalore on their name has certainly helped. Optic works their way by walking straight into down Beast, and they're right below in the belly of the Beast. FaZe and the Guard, Oxygen, Team Liquid, and others.
This is certainly one of, if not the strongest places to play from. Several moments about it. You talked about G2 and the fact that they got 9th, or I believe 8th in game 1. But guess what accompanied that? Maybe about 13 kills or something. They ended up getting 16 points on the day, which made them a 3rd place finisher overall, and now 6th place on the day after 2. Designful results to Chaotic, switching out their squad and going for something bigger than what they had. Obviously, disappointment last season in Split 2. But now they've got to be careful because they're looking at Luminosity. Luminosity looking at them. They have the Bloodhound on, and the Beast is active, and he's on the prowl.
That's right, Luminosity. This is a fight we foreshadowed. We knew they were in Barometer crafting up. We knew they were going to be flanking G2 over in Mill, and here comes the beasts of the hunt for Niazul, formerly known as Ganja Men. Looks like G2 is going to say, yeah, we don't want much of this fight. Let's just gatekeep. And, well, guess what? Luminosity is going to be stuck in zone here. This will be a really, really tough rotation for LG. G2 gatekeeping nearby. That should be a clean 3v3 for now, but Space Station coming from Antenna and CLG are also nearby. So we got 4 teams within the vicinity. Let's jump into a listen with G2 to see how they play it.
Yeah. We're chilling at these rocks. Out here.
Is it just a team in each building that didn't push him yet?
I'm gonna try to peek around this rock a little bit.
Alright. Just be careful from the back. The charge rifle is like bottom floor of this
I think
right
we're
building.
gonna swing inside the down beast. Honestly.
Alright.
Like now?
No. Like eventually when the storm starts closing.
This team's getting pinched right here by someone from checkpoint, I think.
Yeah, LG's pushing them. LG's
50 on bang,
pushing
50 on
them.
bang.
Shoot the kid on top. Where is that missing, bro? I'm hitting an invisible wall or something.
Keep eyes on our back. Be careful.
This team is far running. This team's going all the way around.
All right, Designful. This is why we don't do G2 listen-ins. I forgot that story we learned back in the solo feed days years ago.
I mean, I think that, you know, Designful's been, you know, a fun character. It wouldn't be strange to say he's been a bit controversial in ways. He's not everybody's personality type, and he obviously, you know, is someone who's willing to speak his mind. Spending a lot of time with Designful's a guy that, you know, is definitely a genuine, you know, pure heart. But in terms of competition, definitely doesn't want to give anybody anything that they don't need. And Yanya and Luminosity Gaming flanking them on the backside. Not happy about that. Lets us know in the listen in. But hey, what do you expect? LG want to win just as much as G2 do, so I don't expect that to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, and you know, G2, LG, I wouldn't say they're rivals necessarily, but LG is another near all controller team, G2 full controller team, so they certainly have similar play styles, and they both drop in the south side of the map. So it's a fight and a matchup that they are used to in scrims and other tournaments, etc. But for now, Chaotic's going to heal back to full, and this fight will continue. Designful going to get tagged up just a little bit. Charge rifle in the hands of Yanya, and it looks like LG is going to have to find a way. They're going to walk this rotate in. They decide to take the mill side, or the down B side as opposed to the checkpoint side, and they're going to have to get their G2 as a result.
They were actually firing on Space Station Gaming as well. That was the team that they mentioned Luminosity was pushing. If you wonder how, you know, it's this composition, Bangalore and Bloodhound and Valkyrie, it's just a clear sign that this is LG. Everyone is aware of it, but now as they rotate, the circles have been clear. LG have a chance to go after G2 yet again. They are still pushing, and G2 are going to be in trouble because now FaZe and Optic are the 2 teams in front of them, LG behind them. G2 has no chance here, nowhere to run. They have got to split up. There's already a down. I cannot imagine G2 survives this. Maybe a solo can get around, but you can see Niazul on the hunt with the Bloodhound, making sure that this car starts singing, and G2 Designful goes down. Resulta falls as well. There's just one more member of G2 alive and trying to make it out as a solo. I'm not sure it's going to be possible, though, as this has just been absolute, utter domination from LG on the backside.
Yeah, we knew it was just a matter of time. It was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode, and guess what? That time bomb was in the form of a young Ganjamin, aka Niazel, pushing up with Bloodhound, getting the scans, getting the intel, and taking out G2. A dominant showing from Luminosity, showcasing why they're so good at playing edge, and we talked about them. They can play hybrid. If it's a southern zone, they can rotate earlier, but they're so good at these edge fights as well. The ability to play, really an adaptive hybrid play style based on what their situation is in front of them is so impressive, similar to how they pick their legends here as we switch on over to Dark Zero.
And I love the way that you can just play Bloodhound. I'll talk about that and the insert of that aside from Seer as well. But you can just be so aggressive and so selfish and still help your team out. One of the benefits of it. Dark Zero, our playoff and our championship winners of the last 2 LAN events, not going to stay alive here in Game 3. And first attempt will also fall. And that's to the hands of Sentinels, who, whoa, are starting to pick it up even higher than they were before. 28 points there, Tech, rounding out with the EVA 8. Got plenty of buffs here lately, but Sinox, what can he do on the horizon? Already still in the fight, they've lost trust, and they pulled back, maybe bit off a bit more than they could chew as MPS falls and Space Station as well in your kill feed, but Sentinels have a chance here with this win, John, to vie for first place.
That's right, MPS eliminated, but kudos to Team Smile. It was a 3v2. And Ava 8 in the hands of Sentinels, you thought they were just going to roll through this Team Smiley setup, but the Watson fence keeps them alive, and ultimately they hit their shots, and they end up taking out Crust. So now it's a 3v2 turn 2v2. Senox and Tech in the 2v2 against Blake and Team Smiley. Let's see how they play this.
Massive moment for them. Tech wants to use that Seer passive as well. Get the Heartseeker and the information and the verticality, making sure that if they push from a terrible spot. Love this angle here from Tech. Sinox can push from the other side, but they've got to be coordinated, and it seems like they are. There's 32 damage. Tech is all in. They've got to get Sinox back into this fight. Leiku doing so much damage with the Volt. He's going to go down there, and will it be Sinox to clean this one up? He's got to hit everything, and he does! Smiley eliminated. Sentinels take 2, and they'll get Tech back up, and they will now be 1 point away from overtaking first place.
Wow, what a play right there from Tech. You obviously want to highlight Senox. He wins the 1v1, but Tech was the one that drew first blood, broke ice with so much damage done, which gave them the opportunity to avoid that awkward stalemate. They had to win that fight fast, otherwise the zone's going to be closing in on them. It's going to be a really tough rotate for them, coming behind Luminosity and CLG. But Sentinels now as a team of 2 had the chance to third party this fight. Both teams are down a player, so it's a 2v2v2 fight right now. Sentinels can come in and clean up.
Look at this CLG Mamba playing with Catalyst, the Dark Veil, doing so much, and it's still going to be up for Demi. What can he do? It's one shot. Luminosity eliminated by CLG. We told you they were so good at team fighting, and they proved it here, and they get out without their team, sure, but Demi still has his life and a placement point as well, with now an incredible showcase of what CLG can do when they get a chance.
That's right. Sentinels. Not able to get the last knock, though, so CLG, that last member alive, is just crawling his way over. They only got one of the knocks. Setnox is the kill leader overall as he gets the final bleed out on Mamba. Demi goes down as well. So just like that, all members of CLG eliminated from this lobby. Sentinels comes in and gets to profit with all of the loot. They are so well kitted. That was a much needed refresh for them coming off the heels of that last fight. Sentinels now, as a team of 2, will progress. Optic to their left, Team Liquid and the Guard, as well as 100 Thieves will round out your top 5 teams.
You got to say, Liquid and the Guard, they certainly should be here. 100 Thieves, they've been chomping at the bit, and so excited to see them in the top 5. But Sentinels, and just the way that we have seen CLG play, they're cracking 20 points. That is a performance we're going to have to dive into a little bit more. CLG rocking the newest legend as well, Catalyst, and showing off what that Dark Veil can do. 100 Thieves in a pretty good spot. Isolated from the rest, these buildings tend to be the prominent location to try to hold, and they're good at it, but the problem is they also become the most desirable real estate fallout, so they get a lot of people trying to challenge here, and it's going to be up to Guard to do their best, as well as Optic, and kind of holding down their real estate, making sure there are no buyers or unwarranted offers for their location.
Yep. There we go. Sentinels continues their trajectory here. Just a tough rotate for them. Tech's going to be bye. See you later. Optic Gaming's going to come through. Clean up 2 easy kill points for them. Last member alive is going to be Senox. See you later. Not for long. Optic cleans up. That leaves 4 teams remaining. Team Liquid, the Guard, Optic, and 100 Thieves. We have 2 teams running Newcastle, Team Liquid and 100 Thieves in this lobby. 1 team running Crypto in the Guard. And that's why Team Liquid rotates early, Evan. Look at the position they're able to get.
Beautiful spot, especially from Liquid playing the way they are on the high ground. This is definitely, I think, the most advantageous spot. You just can't get griefed by 100 Thieves. The Guards know it. And so they're hiding here. Keon, Rampo, and RK in. We spoke with RK in Atlanta a week ago. Took 2 days off. You asked me, what did I think about that? I think it's a great plan. And I think in athletics and in anything competitively, you got to sometimes take a little bit of time off to come back fresh. They certainly look like they've done that here in game 3, but they've got to figure out how to deal with Liquid. It's 100 Thieves, Liquid, and I believe the guard underneath that are going to be going toe-to-toe here to finish off and see who can take game 3.
Optics out in 4th place. They both got focused by Team Liquid at the top, and of course the guard on the bottom. Really good job from the two of them, gatekeeping Optic and preventing the champions from game number 2 for going back-to-back. So now Team Liquid on high ground. It's the guard on low ground. The Loba ultimate comes in. They get all that Optic gaming loot. That's huge for them. That's why Loba's so good in these late games here. Sykes is playing out of his mind, by the way. Again, you wouldn't have expected to call him a rookie. This is his first time playing an ALGS at this level, and boy, oh boy, is he performing.
I just want to look at the situation, John, and great call out on the Loba. Not an easy character to bring into competitive. Obviously, you've got coached by Hotsick in the way they like to play it, but Sykes taking on that role, big challenge, big ups to that. But look at this. I mean, 100 Thieves are sitting isolated on a bridge. Everyone's looking at them. They know someone's beneath and above, but what kind of situation does this, put in for 100 Thieves? Because they actually, weirdly enough, are going to have to be the first person to move. They're going to have a little bit of a hero's moment, possibly, if you look at EMEA. Who's going to make that big stretch, that first commit out into the open, and really hold the position that's going to win this game? Because right now, it's just going to be a free-for-all.
Yeah, I think I'd say that Team Liquid has the best position overall to their left. Zone's closing right to their left, but the guard's going to try and grief them. Here comes the push. So instead of them are 100 Thieves in my eyes, but it's really a three-way split. This is anyone's game right now, Evan. No one necessarily has the clear win condition. 2 Newcastles. They're just going to drop one. They're going to say, hey, good luck getting out of this building. Team Liquid, what a decision right there. They're going to completely grief guard.
I think it's like 2,000 damage to get out of this. I don't think they're going to have enough damage literally to get out of it. They have to go through a Watson fence as well. What a play from Liquid. They say it's just mathematically not possible. They get second place. But meanwhile, 100 Thieves watches all that and says, that was cute, guys. We'll take the W here in game number 3. You didn't pay attention to us, and now you bit the bullet for it.
Yeah, WD Black, what's in